Hi, I'm Stargate Pioneer from Better Podcasting, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network. Just like the show you're listening to now, the opinions expressed are those of each individual host. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Phil Coulson. Stand by for S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Michelle Ely.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. This is show number 119, discussing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, Episode 19, Failed Experiments, and Jessica Jones Season 1, Episode 11, A.K.A. I've Got the Blues. This show is recorded on Wednesday. May the 4th be with you. Yes, it is Star Wars Day 2016. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Agent Carter, Marvel's Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage on Netflix, and the general Marvel comic universe.
Because of saran wrap corsets.
If you'd like to talk to us about saran-wrapped corsets, you can get a hold of us at our website, legendsofshield.com. You can get a hold of us at our voicemail, 844-THE-BUSTS-1. That's 844-843-2871. You can find us at our Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, all at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. You can find us on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/GonnaGeek. And you can find our network at GonnaGeek.com.
This time on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we're going to be talking for the last time before the event about Free Comic Book Day 2016. We're going to be talking about when we're going to do our Captain America Civil War special recording. We're going to be giving away our special Star Wars Cantina Smugglers crate. We're going to be talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. failed experiments. We're going to be talking about Jessica Jones, A.K.A. I Got the Blues. We're going to be talking about your weekly Marvel news, your feedback, and of course, highlights from the live Blab chat room. Just a little reminder that you can find our video companion at youtube.com/GonnaGeek, who's with a bunch of other shows like the main Gonna Geek podcast, Better Podcasting, All Things Good and Nerdy, the Starling Tribune podcast about the DC show Arrow, and Nerd Alert News special editions. Got a little tongue twisted there, Chris. Sorry, man. I love that show. It's like my favorite new little podcast. Love it. If you haven't checked out Nerd Alert News, please do so. It becomes in podcast form and video form with the special editions. Michelle's been on a special edition. Lauren's been on a special edition. I've been on a special edition. We've all been on special editions, and it's fun to go through. And also there's tech reviews and companions. So check that out, GonnaGeek.com/YouTube. And that is incorrect. It is youtube.com/GonnaGeek. All right. Free Comic Book Day, Nerd Christmas, as Lauren calls it. Michelle, the last time we spoke to you, you had a comic book store picked out for this. Are you still going to go to that store, or have you changed your mind?
They're going to have donuts. So, yeah, I'm going to go.
I intentionally did not pick up my file system order tonight. I'm going to wait and do it on Saturday. I'm just going to do it all. Just boom. It's going to be there and it's going to be fun. I'm going to take my daughter too. She's going to enjoy it. And then after, we're going to go buy her birthday present. So she's going to come no matter what. It's going to be fun. So if you catch this recording in the podcast version, you've missed it. But if you have attended Free Comic Book Day, please drop us a line, send us a voicemail, send me an email, and tell us how you enjoyed your free comic book day at your local comic book store. Right. We are definitely, finally, after a long, hard month, looking at Team Cap or Team Iron Man or Team whatever else you want, like Team Agent 13. We are going to give away this Star Wars Cantina crate on Smuggler's Bounty. So, Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty Cantina crate. So, Lauren.
Yes.
Let's run through some of the entries that we have received.
All right. The first one that we got is from Cajun Sean at Cajun Sean on Twitter. He said, Team Deadpool because he has chimichangas. This is true.
Yep. Hashtag contest entry too. So he was really working that. And he was the first contest entry this time around. So we appreciate that, Sean. At Mr. Paracletes also tweeted us and he said, why am I Team Cap? Because my son's going to be the next Captain America. And if you look at this adorable picture, it'll be linked in the show notes. You got to check this out. It's the most adorable, big blue eyes, the blonde hair. He's got a Captain America sweatshirt on. He's missing a shield, but I mean, this is awesome.
It's so cute.
Mm-hmm. So, Michelle, who else entered?
At Defy Down Under.
Defy Down Under.
Defy Down Under, sorry. Team Widow, she puts up with so much crap from Team Cap and Team Iron Man. Always loyal, yet somehow doesn't have her own movie.
And she doesn't. She doesn't. And she's not even programmed for one. At least Captain Marvel is, but she's not. And there's been a lot of talk in the news this week about that. But hey, we've had our say. I think the time's passed. But did you guys see the special clip at the end of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode?
Yes, with the Black Widow using all her super awesome martial arts moves and taking down like 3 guys with her legs. It was amazing.
And every time one of them would start to get up, she'd go after him. And it wasn't like a perfect fight. She faltered a couple of times. And I think that was actually in the fight choreography. Like, she is not invincible. She can't just go zoom, zoom, zoom and take care of him. She's not Captain America. But she did an awesome job. And that was great. And I can't wait to see how that scene plays out in the movie. So, Lauren, who else do we have that's entered?
Let's see.
I think there was a little Born to Eat Bacon.
Was there?
Yeah, he said, oh, wow. Hashtag Team Iron Man. Hashtag Team Cap references. But that was in relation to...
Yeah, I think that was in relation to the show.
But he also tweeted and he said, did I mention hashtag Team Black Widow? Who is one of the hashtag Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And he's got a Black Widow Pop Funko.
And then he said Team Black Widow because her opening sealed in Avengers was epic. I love Scarlett Johansson and she deserves a solo film. Along with a picture of the little Pop Funko with the S.H.I.E.L.D. badge.
Yeah,
next to May Coulson.
S.H.I.E.L.D. badge sells it. Yep. And then Richard at Kodiak GWC, he said, I stand with hashtag Team Iron Man because of Black Widow, hashtag Ginger's Rule, hashtag tweet me. And there you go. So thank you very much, Richard. That was great. Michelle, who's next?
Christy at Adana Girl.
Adana Girl, yep.
Adana Girl. I fellow hashtag Team Cap fan.
Yeah. And then our pal from overseas, Lauren, what did he have to say?
Andy Migna at Andy Migna on Twitter said a short video. Maybe it can score me a few points for the Smuggler's crate.
Yeah.
And he retweeted at Slash Films Captain America Civil War featurette breaks down the Avenger on Avenger conflict.
Mm-hmm. So we got a bunch of great entries. Thank you very much, everybody, for entering. We really appreciate you playing along, telling us which team you're on, Team Cap, Team Iron Man, or Team Agent 13, Team Black Widow, whatever you want. Team Rocket Raccoon, we also had a few of those. That was Mr. Paracletes, but he threw in another entry, so I took that one out. So we had a bunch of great entries. What do you think, Lauren? Who are we going to give this away to? There's a bunch of great thoughts here?
I mean, Mr. Pericles with that picture, his kid really is going to be the next Cap.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Mr. Pericles,
So
once you hear this,
so cute.
yeah, definitely cute. Mr. Pericles, once you hear this, please DM me with your address. I will get that in the mail to you as soon as I can. And we will get you this one, the Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty Cantina crate. Opened only once by me and shown off on camera. And no, I did not rub the stuff all over my face. No, I didn't do that.
That's what he wants you to think.
It is yours now, sir. So just give me an address and you will have your crate. All right. So we talked about Team Cap, Team Iron Man. This is Star Wars Day. We gave away the Star Wars crate. Big celebrations. We have this movie, which I haven't seen yet. It premieres tomorrow night. I won't see it tomorrow night. I'll see it Friday or Saturday. Haven't really decided yet. It depends on my work schedule. So the question is, Lauren.
Yes.
Haley's not here tonight. We haven't addressed that yet. Haley had to scatter tonight and couldn't be on the podcast. That's why we have Michelle, which is great that Michelle was able to step in. Thank you very much, Michelle. But we did talk to Haley about when we are going to do this Civil War podcast, didn't we?
Yes, we will be doing it on Sunday morning. This Sunday, what day is it? 8th?
The 8th. Mm-hmm.
The 8th. And you'll have to remind me the time because I can't remember if it was
It's
Eastern or Central.
Yeah, it's 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Now, I realize it's early, but folks, this was literally the only time that we could actually fit it in. And we can't wait till Monday for various reasons, which I might get into later. But this is
mostly involving work.
Yes. 10 a.m. on Sunday, we will be doing our Captain America Civil War podcast. So if you want to jump on in, that'd be great. If you want to give us your impressions on the movie, go ahead and call those in 844-THE-BUS-1 or 844-843-2871. All right. Is that everything? Have we gone through everything before we talk about the episode? I think that is.
I think it is.
All right. Let's talk about the episode. So we had quite an impressive Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode. It was failed experiments. I was quite taken aback by all of the events in there, as you ladies, I'm sure, were. And we had some creative team backup that was a little bit experienced. The director was Vincent Misiano, and it was written by Craig Titley, who is a Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. producer. And you can't say that name without giggling, can you?
You really can't.
No, you can't. So great stuff that happened. Lauren, what jumped out at you? Was it, I'm pointing to the color of my shirt, my Star Wars shirt. Does this bring out anything to you?
Yes, actually. Let's just go with the obvious. It was that fight scene between Daisy and Mac. I mean, wow. No, I'm talking about the Kree. Obviously
they're both obvious, great.
No, they were both really, really good.
Yeah, right. So you want to go above the Kree and you want to say Mac versus Daisy was the pinnacle.
There was a lot that I actually really liked about this episode. There was a whole bunch of stuff that was happening. I mean, granted, you can really look at a lot of this as setup for the finale, but there was so much little individual stuff that I really liked that just, wow. I was hoping to watch it again today and I didn't get to, but okay. So
let's pick one and let's go with it.
Okay. I want to start with Hive. Everything about Hive this episode.
Okay.
Brett Dalton's performance is again phenomenal.
It was amazing.
Yeah, just wow. I just can't my husband walked in. He hasn't caught up with this season. He's looking. He's like, huh, "Nice coat, Neo," which is funny because my husband likes The Matrix. And I'm like, no. He's so amazing this season. And I was going on and on and on about it while I'm trying to watch and retweet. And so I'm doing 3 things at once. And I probably missed a whole bunch of stuff while I was trying to do that. But you get the backstory of how the original human who ended up becoming Hive got transformed, and how he has, for all this like weird serenity that he's showing, he has this really deep-seated resentment and aggression towards the Kree for what happened.
He got some issues.
He does. And just, yeah, I mean, I can't blame him, though, because this is probably the most empathy I've felt for Hive or anybody with Ward's face at any point in the show.
Right. But again, the one thing about Hive that makes you just want to go against him is the fact that he wants to turn everybody into an Inhuman or kill them. And I think that's a little overboard and excessive. What do you think, Michelle?
It seems over. There's this great sort of line where it ties into Civil War, where he's like, if you're a billionaire, you can build a suit, or if you're the military, you make soldiers and stuff. It's just kind of interesting how he's like, I want to make everybody one for peace. Again, it reminds me of like that whole Borg mentality. So it's sort of interesting how Hive how he sells it as peace.
From a certain point of view,
yeah,
he's not wrong. And from a certain point of view, it could be seen as a good idea. But we've seen his methods. And his methods are not good.
No, not good at all. Even in this episode when he turns everybody into the big pile of goo with...
It's like...
Well, that's not his fault.
Yeah, the experiment was just, not tweaked yet.
Well, it was his fault that he went along with it with live humans without testing or anything. I mean, there's got to be lab rats that you can do that sort of thing with.
Yeah, they're called surviving Hydra members.
Okay, so that scene reminded me of a similar scene in the first X-Men movie when, after... Magneto tried to turn that senator into a mutant, he blobs out and goes splash. And then this whole plot also reminds me of that Magneto plot, except that Magneto was doing it less out of a sense of altruism and more out of a sense of revenge. Here, it's not, Hive isn't doing this because of inhuman oppression or anything. He's doing it because, this is the logical way for everything to go. It just, once everybody's an Inhuman and once we all share the same goals, everything's going to be fine. And again, from a certain point of view, I can see where somebody would, again, this is the thing that I like. I like relatable villains. And he doesn't have the ha evil plot. It's to him, and it's a plot that completely makes sense. It's just that It reminds me of, I was watching The World's End again this weekend, the Simon Pegg movie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same sort of thing as The Network. It's the, you people are just so, fractious and immature. And, once we replace the, ones of y'all who are trouble with robots and we take over, everything will be peaceful and fine. And everyone's always like, we do what we want.
It's a good idea until he says, or we'll kill you.
Yes.
It's that part. It's like, it's a good idea until, or die.
It's the removing the choice from people.
And
if somebody says, okay, yeah, I'd love to be Inhuman and join your little weird collective, then that's okay. But it's the removal of choice that's the big thing, I think, for most of us.
Just like he's got the beef with the Kree, he's got the beef with the humans because the humans banished him to Maveth. We don't know how, but they did it. So he's got a beef with both these people, and honestly, he's going to take them out if he can. That's his whole thing, and I think he's got to change with the times, man. I mean, humanity has moved forward extensively. Basically forgotten about the Inhumans for the most part, are just dealing with them now, and then he comes in and wants to wreck the whole planet. Yeah, not appropriate, dude. Especially when the planet's reeling from such events like Sokovia, the Manhattan issue, and everything else that the Avengers have brought on to the Earth from above. Blech. So.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, that fight with the Kree between, Hive and that, what was it? Reaper, Hunter. I want to say Reaper.
There were Reapers, yeah. Reaper hunters.
But yeah, first of all, the choreography was so good. And second of all, it always bugs me a little when people talk during fights because I'm like, just concentrate. You'll get more stuff done that way. But with this, it was all really illuminating. It was the whole, you're a failed experiment. And then, sometimes miracles come from mistakes, that whole thing. And it really lets you show like where Hive's mindset is. And I loved it.
I'm surprised Hive did not kill Radcliffe. I was totally expecting that to happen, but he weaseled himself out of it for another week. He's like, I could do this. Give me a chance. I know I could do this. Come on. Put me in coach. I can play.
Radcliffe.
He just
awesome.
needs that blood.
All right. So Lauren brought up the Kree. She also brought up the magnificent fight between Daisy and Mac and the heart-pulling strings that fight had. Oh, that was just bad. And Daisy, she's not herself. You know that she's being controlled by the little nanites or spores or whatever in her brain.
To what extent? Because we know all it's really doing is affecting the pleasure center. That's all that they've found. So to what extent?
I don't really think Daisy is completely mind controlled. She keeps saying all this time I've been wanting to fit in. And, she's been saying things that are great callbacks to season 1 where, she's trying to find her place and who are my parents? What am I? That's why she wanted to get with S.H.I.E.L.D. And, Coulson teaches her, May teaches her, even Ward taught her. And then she finds out she's an Inhuman and she finds her dad, she finds her mom, but then that's not all perfect and Brady Bunch. And
she loses.
And now now she feels complete. And it's one of those things to where it's like she's fine. Like she keeps saying she feels like she's at home. So I don't think it's all Hive.
And think of it this way. If it's affecting her, like the pleasure centers of her brain, maybe she's acting more like an addict at this point. And you might, know some people in your life who, maybe when you knew them when you were younger or before they were hooked on whatever, they were nice people. Then they get hooked on this drug and they start, like, this isn't you, like how they start acting, like coming back for whatever. And I'm wondering if that's kind of what we're seeing right now, if it's just her so desperate for this, to belong that she's going even further and further. And yeah, she's not, as we would say, brainwashed, but she's fully committing because she wants it. She wants that high.
So let me ask you ladies this. Was the appearance on the security cam a cry for help or was it trap S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I want to believe it's a cry for help.
I think it's subconscious.
Yeah. Because if it was a trap, you think that Hive would have been in on it. And he wasn't. He was all in the bringing down the Kree hunters. He wanted to rip their hearts out, which he actually succeeded in doing the one. So, way to go, man. Take out the blue.
He has succeeded in a goal. He set himself a goal and he reached it. Well done.
Attaboy, we'll give you a trophy. How about a blue heart? Okay. The new S.H.I.E.L.D. commando dudes. All right. One of them's a woman who had speaking parts. And I have to go here. This is just obvious. Like, who's in the spaceship? It's a woman, right? There's a woman on the team. She didn't get killed in this episode. So she at least is going to make it to the next episode. Do you think she's going to make it one more and end up on the spaceship?
I think they're all red shirts.
Well, she'd be a red shirt that way.
Yeah, I honestly expected them all to die this episode, though. Like, I'm watching, and I even made the comment on Twitter. It was giving the whole thing a very XCOM feeling. It's XCOM, this, for those who don't know, it's a video game, and you have your little troops and you go fight aliens, and usually they all kind of die horribly.
Okay. So with that, and I see Michelle nodding her head. Michelle, who do you think's going to die? Who's in the spaceship?
Simmons. I'm sticking with Simmons until I'm proven wrong. I'm sorry.
I'm starting to think you're right.
They've had sex. They actually had a mature disagreement at work, and they able to, solve that. And it was great. And it's just, I keep thinking Simmons.
Yeah, they keep on saying somebody's going to die, and I don't think they've adequately prepared the space the way they did over on Arrow. Like, okay, somebody's going to die. Have fun figuring out who it is, and have fun discovering who it is, and we'll take your comments and shove them in the trash can and burn them. Man, I don't think that Marvel has done the same thing other than saying, yeah, we're actually going to have a death. And I think in reflection, in response to Joss Whedon, and this is a Whedon crew that's running the show, I think whoever's going to die is going to die. There's going to be no resurrection. There's going to be no Captain Marvel coming from the Alpha Flight satellite to save her in space or anything. I think it's going to be game over for whoever it is. And I think that they threw, I know you guys are saying the XCOM. I'm just, for a week anyway, I'm going to say it's the woman that's on the commando team. And Lauren, you say you think Michelle's right with Simmons.
Watching this episode, it started to give me a really bad feeling. Like, just because she and Fitz are so happy. And she shot Ward. That was like on her to-do list. It's like, shoot Ward, check. Have a good relationship, check. It's just get back to Earth, check. Yeah, I feel like TV has this thing where you can't have good, happy relationships. And yeah, it's right now they're happy. Something has to happen, and I don't want it to happen. Okay, so
go ahead.
I don't want it to be Simmons. I'm not over here, going, I think it's Simmons because I kill Simmons. Yeah, I'm going to, if I'm right, I'm going to be devastated. This is a case of where I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But the evidence is just there.
It's piling up. I really want this to be a misdirection.
Yeah.
But
we've lost Bobby. We're going to lose Simmons. Yeah, I agree. And what's concerning to me, I'll throw Chloe Bennett in there as well, Daisy Sky, that character, because she has been making some appearances, and then all of a sudden she's been announced for Dallas Comic-Con, which comes out like the week after the season finale and stuff like that. So I'm thinking she could be in there, but at the same time, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the story of Sky/Daisy. So you take her out of that and you take the heart of the show out, just like, I took the heart out. Great.
That's what I was saying, like, I don't know, a week or two ago, that I was like, I bet it's Daisy. But I'm starting to think about it. And I'm like, well, if it's Simmons and if Daisy has something to do with it, then next season it's going to be all about her dealing with that guilt.
Yeah.
And trying to come back from this.
Oh, yep. I could definitely see that.
Bad guy.
So Stephen John Drew in the chat said, I agree, Michelle. It's Coulson in a wig or hair plugs.
Yeah, that would be something if would they kill Coulson again? I don't think so.
No.
They gave him the hand with the shield.
Oh, Coulson's been killed. He's had his hand chopped off. He's had numerous women in his lives off. I think we're decimating Coulson little by little. I don't think they're actually going to kill him off and put him out of his misery. That would, and besides, he actually was one of the creative efforts to bring the show back. And he lobbied for it. He got it. And he's not part of the creative team right now, but he's still a central part of it. So we'll see. And he might be kept on just as a Marvel's neener to Josh, even though this is a Wheaton crew. You never know there. You never know. Neener. Okay, Michelle, you have yet to choose a topic, so I'm going to throw it to you. What is a topic that we haven't discussed that you want to talk about this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
This episode is why I am 1,000% Team May, because out of everybody on the show right now, she's the only one acting like an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. She knows that there's a mission and we just don't need to focus on Daisy. We don't need to make it about ourselves. She actually understands the mission. She goes in undercover with that James guy and
so
flirts
good.
And gets intel, and then she's running point, and she's the one making sense. So I was like, yes, May all the way.
That's a good cheer.
May, hashtag May all the way. You heard it here first on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast number 119. I agree.
No, yeah.
May has been awesome. The one twinge I had when you were saying that is, what if she's in the spaceship? That would be awful.
Oh, no.
Because she's kind of the heart of the show, too. I mean, she's the one who never used to talk. She's the agent, and
she's not the heart. She's the brain.
Okay. Fair. I stand corrected. Or I sit corrected because I don't podcast standing up.
Part of me is like going to IMDb and looking to see what projects everybody has lined up ahead.
I can see you doing that too.
No, I'm doing that right now.
I know. I can see you doing that. I can see the reflection.
No, it's not, because nobody has anything lined up ahead.
Right.
Or else everything that they have lined up ahead is already done.
Yep.
Not helpful.
Okay, so let's have a moment of silence because we finally lose the Ginger Ninja.
Yeah.
Okay, moment of silence over with. She was a bad person in this particular episode, so.
Oh, wow. I'm looking at her IMDb page, and this actress, Alicia Vela Bailey, is actually, wow, she's in a bunch of stuff. She's a stunt woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's Gal Gadot's stunt woman in Batman vs. Superman. She's Adrian Palicki's stunt double in Marvel's Most Wanted. She's Kate Beckinsale's stunt woman in Underworld Blood Wars. She's Bridget Regan's stunt woman in Agent Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Lots of cool. Yep.
Yeah. So she is not truly gone. She's just,
Well, we haven't.
And wigs and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually see her die either, so we don't know for sure, but hey, when Hive Ward does the Price is Right, hey, Krieg, come on down. You're the next contestant on the Inhuman show. I think that she didn't make it, but that's just me personally. She wasn't in any of the scenes afterwards, So when Hive was digging the needle into Daisy as much as he could, I think he was enjoying that just a little bit. I mean, when you get shot by a person, that's a grudge that just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows how to get to her.
And you can't get to him because he shrugs off a hand or shoulder fired rocket. That was like, wow.
Yeah, and
That's
then like
insane.
those weird tentacles just kind of bending back together. It's like, okay, this is not who we thought we were dealing with.
Something straight out of the Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
Straight out of Lovecraft.
When he kills something, does he absorb their ability? Because he killed the Kree. Did that have an impact on him surviving the? Because obviously his human hosts have died in the past, because otherwise he would still be that Mayan. So obviously the host dies and he goes somewhere. So this time it's like he killed a Kree. So it would have been the first time he killed a Kree that way. That's what I'm assuming. And then all of a sudden it's like that weird thing happened on his shoulder after he got shot. So,
well, I don't No, because we saw when he showed up at the old school Hydra's place, and he's like, "Yeah, this isn't even my final form," and then he gets the tentacles, and everyone's like, "Eh!"
Yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah, I think there's something there. Like, did he like eat the aliens that were on Mavith? And maybe that, I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
I don't know if we're ever actually going to know because I think unless he tells us, we're not going to know except for in like a convention when the producers come on or Ward is answering questions himself. Brett Dalton is answering question and saying what actually happened or what they told him happened or whatever. I think we're in that mindset right now. Okay. Cool. So question, is he going to die at the end of the season or is he going to live for season 4? Michelle.
Why I am enjoying the evolution of Ward, Mr. Boring in season 1 to I can't believe he's sexy in this evil sort of way. I'm sort of like, I think we've had enough. I don't want him to continually be the big bad. It's just like, we need to get rid of him.
I think he's pulled off a phenomenal character. I'm so glad we have him in the show now versus season 1. What do you think, Lauren?
I don't know. I want him to stay around because I'm just loving. I keep wanting to say BJ Dalton, Brett Dalton.
Right. It's not BJ. Yeah.
No.
Was Trip.
I know. I'm never letting go of Trip, apparently. But I want him to stay around because I love his performance. He's just bringing something new every time he does this character transformation, whether it's from boring Ward to evil Ward, from evil Ward to this. It's just something new every time. And I don't know. I if he stays around, I want it to be in some new, different incarnation than the current Hive that we're seeing now, like maybe Angry Hive or as a secondary antagonist or something. But I'm not ready to let him go yet.
Okay.
Which is not something I ever would have pictured myself saying, but his performance this season has been fantastic.
I think they're going to somehow let him survive and come back in the next season, and maybe he'll be dealt with by Christmas. So that's just my prognostication right now. We'll see in a couple of weeks if that turns out to be true. Now, there's one more big note that I have for this episode, and that was the whole Lincoln thing of him putting himself in harm's way, basically trying out the cure, making them try out the cure on him, and the cure failed, or so that's what Simmons told us. So, Michelle, what do you think about that whole thing with Lincoln in this episode?
Lincoln's an idiot. I don't want that type of guy to be my boyfriend. I don't want him to be my doctor. I don't want him to be on my team. He's reckless, hot-headed, and he deserved to die. If he died this episode, it would have been like, oh, okay, you can go. He's just an idiot.
Yeah, seriously, you don't just go around injecting stuff that's not even finished yet, especially if it has the potential to mess up your brain, into yourself. I mean, this guy's a doctor. He should know better. I don't care how desperate you are. It just, wow. I saw that and I just groaned out loud. It just, how stupid are you, Lincoln?
Yeah, so I think he's playing the CWS kind of character where he's lovesick over his woman. And he wants to do everything he can to help her. And he's really helpless because he's like the Roy over on Arrow, right? He doesn't know anything what he's doing. He doesn't know, he can't project his powers properly because Hive's going to take him over and stuff like that. So I think that it's a little bit misplaced in the show, but it happens.
He's still an idiot.
It's Lincoln. Is he an idiot, or is he, as Red Foreman would say, a jackass?
Thought it was dumbass.
Is he a dumbass?
No, it's just an idiot.
He's both.
Okay.
He is both.
All right.
There was one more thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah, what do you got?
Real quick. Mac.
Mm-hmm. Totally destroyed mentally.
Oh, man, I know. Just from, no, come on, there's still good in her, to just Daisy just beating the hell out of him because he's like, no, seriously, my partner Daisy wouldn't hit me. And then she just beats the hell out of him. And it's like, Mac, no. This is not the Daisy that you are familiar with. This is a very desperate, angry Daisy.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
at least he's still alive.
He is for now. Yep. All right, Michelle, you got anything else for this episode?
No, I'm good.
No? Anything in the chat room? I'll give one last cry out to the chat room, other than correcting me on the Red Foreman saying they're pretty good right now. So, all right, we've got other things to do tonight. It's a very busy night. We're going to switch off to Jessica Jones. All right, we're almost through our Jessica Jones season 1 watch. We're, I believe, in episode 11. I've Got the Blues. It was directed by Yuta Brezovich, and it was written by Scott Reynolds, both of which have been involved in the show before. And then it was also written by Liz Friedman, who has been a writer on the show before in the teleplay version. So an experienced crew for Jessica Jones as they're running into the end here. And I think they did a pretty good job. I don't have, let's put it this way. There was not a Zack Snyder moment in this episode. So we'll just leave that one alone. All right. Jessica Jones. We got Saran Wrap. We got Simpson going nuts. We got Trish being the hero back to Jessica. There's just a lot of great things. Michelle, what did you like most about this episode?
I like how the flashbacks actually help the current story. That whole, like, having them saving each other in both sort of cases, and seeing how Jessica got her realization of her power, and then seeing what Trish did with the pills. That was the structure of this episode. That was my favorite part.
Mm-hmm. Lauren, what's your favorite part of the episode?
This is probably my favorite episode of the series because of all the interplay between Jessica and Trish. From the flashbacks when we see how they initially didn't like each other because, you know, Trish is dealing with all of her own stuff and Jessica just does not want to be there because she has her own stuff to deal with, to them kind of, the whole don't save me thing. And then Jessica sticks up for her and Trish is like, wow, okay. And then them kind of reversing that role there in the present, with Trish trying to protect Jessica, and eventually, them, it's just like a continuous saving of each other through whatever means, necessary, emotional or monetary, or, beating up Simpson, whatever, what have you. And yeah, we get to see what I'm positive are Hellcat's origins here, because come on, you have Trish, you have her knowing Krav Maga. How can you not have Hellcat?
Yeah, unfortunately, I picked up the Hellcat comics because that's what Neil had recommended when he was doing the segment when they came out on Longbox Edition, which you should check. If you're interested in Marvel Comics, by the way, go check out Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Longbox Edition. We take the weekly breakdown of comics. Lauren takes down the mutant, or runs down the mutant comics for the week. Adam takes the S.H.I.E.L.D. related comics, and Neil basically takes everything else that's left in his pull list. And so he recommended it, but it was just, it didn't hold me. And that was unfortunate. It was like the little kids thing, but she does supposedly become Hellcat. I think we're going to see it in season 2 of Jessica Jones, and we might even see it in the Defenders. Who knows? And I think It was awesome seeing that. She definitely has the rush, the adrenaline rush, and she's going to remember that. She's going to remember, how can I get that back? She's a little bit of a druggie on the violence thing already, and she wants to self-protect herself. But now she's got a taste of what it is to be a hero, and she's definitely going to bring that forward. And just before we leave that, Michelle, I want to say that when Jessica is holding up that sink, I mean, it's foam and everything, but I'm thinking in terms of like installing one of those things and bringing it in the house and stuff. That's heavy. Then 150 pounds above your head, holding for that long with one hand. Oh my gosh. That little kid probably had no idea what she was in for. So that was cool there. All right. So we had the whole Trish and Jessica Jones interaction back and forth. It did begin, though, back again with the car, and I don't think we see the car again, the car wreck, the car accident again anytime soon, but that was devastating again to go through. We do see Robin completely freaking out, and Malcolm has to deal with her, doesn't he?
Yeah, again, it's for all that, Robin was supposed to be the strong one with her and Ruben. She has not been holding together very well. And now it's kind of Malcolm who's the one who's like, the guy who didn't have it together and was, the drug addict and everything. And he's the one who's like the calm center now. And again, Malcolm is just, I love him. I love him so much. But yeah, considering that she was blaming him for all this stuff an episode ago, now she seems to be clinging to him because she trusts him a lot more than she trusts Jessica. And I can't blame Robin for freaking out because, a guy made her almost kill herself. And, you don't normally expect that. And of course, that's the thing about Kilgrave that we see it over the past few episodes and over the next couple. I mean, somebody could tell you, oh, there's this guy that makes you do stuff and you don't want to do it, but you feel like you want to do it. And then it's another thing to experience that.
Mm-hmm. So, Michelle, what's your take on the whole Robin situation, Malcolm, in this episode?
I think it's interesting that she was tempted to break, and try to tell the truth and do her own thing. But then she's realizing that she needs other people to help her through everything. And, and deciding to fall in line, was sort of like a interesting moment to see her do that. Like, it was really good. Like, there was a moment where you think she's going to, but then she has that look and she follows suit.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Lauren, what else did you think was really important for this episode?
Simpsons devolving further and further. Definitely. Like, I don't think we see Kilgrave once this episode, do we?
No.
Yeah. Do we see Simpson again, or is this the last we see him? Because
I think this is the last we see him.
The doctor's people take him away and deal with him, and hopefully give him the treatment that he needs, because
I don't think they're going to give him the treatment that he needs. I think if he shows up again, it'll be definitely as an antagonist. And yeah, again, much like we were talking about with Daisy before, I think this is one of those situations where it's like, it's kind of maybe a bit more revealing of the deep down person than, brainwashing or, this isn't you.
Mm-hmm.
And deep down, I think Simpson is not a good person.
I think he means well. He's just like Hive in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode tonight. I think he is misguided on how to fix things. I think he wasn't mentored well as a child. I think, he had too many bugs in his ice cream cone or something, and he's just has it in for people that...
That is not an idiom I've ever heard before, and I like it.
Yeah, I just came up with it on the spot. I'm like, what would Lauren like? And I was thinking bugs in the ice cream cone. I think that was great. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we see him, he keeps trying to cover for himself, and he's like trying to play it off real smooth, and it's just coming off more and more creepy. And then he starts having that weird vocal like tick where he's repeating like words.
It's Max Headrooming.
Yes, he's Max Headrooming.
Yep. That was awesome.
Yeah,
And Jessica picked up on it.
It's definitely unsettling.
Jessica picked up on it, and then she acted accordingly, and she thought she could take him. I think she might have gotten more than she bargained for, but whatever.
Yeah, apparently he's on the good drugs. And by good, I mean, you know what I mean. He's rather hopped up.
He's hopping. Definitely hopping. All right. Before we get to the finale scene, Michelle, do you have anything left for this episode that you want to discuss? Any big points?
No, it's just it had one of my favorite lines, Professor of Kilgravism. I thought.
Yeah, normally we have Haley, and she runs through quotes of the episode, but that's pretty cool.
It's one of my favorites.
All right. Lauren, anything else that we haven't touched upon before the last scene?
We get to see directly how, like, we get, the hints of how horrible Trisha's mom was when she was younger. And we see, and oh my God, it is awful. Like, she's a stage mom, and you get hints of that. But then no, she's like beating her daughter with a People's Choice Award. She's trying to like force her to throw up pizza because the camera adds 30 pounds. She adopts Jessica for a PR stunt. I mean, she's a horrible person.
And the way that Jessica found out about her family's death was just horrific. And it was all because I think Patsy was in on it. Trish was in on it at the time, but she just didn't know any better because all she had was her mom as a model around her. And she thought that's how it was. And I think once Trish came into her life once Jessica came into Trish's life, I think she figured out that her mom was a complete wacko, and they had a weapon to keep her at bay and to make her behave herself a little bit better. So that was good. But yep, that I forgot about the mom. We're not done with the mom yet, and she's not done being manipulative and being a bad person herself. Like, there is no good person in this entire freaking thing except for a very select few.
Oh, we see Luke Cage again.
Luke Cage!
For like a little bit.
All right. So that's the last scene, right? So we see him in the little window. Yeah. And
Kilgrave is terrible.
Right. Boom. What'd you think of that last scene, Michelle? What?
Oh, no. Michelle, go.
No, it's like you see him and it's just like, oh, and then I didn't really know a lot about Luke Cage before I started watching this. So I actually thought he was gone, and then he walked out and it was like, what? So that moment had me because, like I said, I didn't know a lot about him. So I was actually surprised by that. I know a lot of comic book fans probably weren't. But I was just like, I actually kind of started to cry. It's like, no, not Luke. And then he comes out and it's like, whoa.
That was a well done scene that way.
Yeah. It's so chilling, though, when you think if it had been anybody else but Luke, just because Kilgrave was angry at Jessica, this building was blown up and anybody inside would have, been seriously injured, if not dead. Probably dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just sheer luck that it was Luke and that he, is invulnerable, basically.
Well, not completely. And we see that later on, but
I said basically.
He gets out of it and they now know they need to go after him. Kilgrave in a big way. So,
yeah.
All right. We've got 2 more episodes. We'll cover the next one. Actually, we're just a little heads up. We won't be doing Jessica Jones at least for 2 weeks for various reasons. So we will pick it up after the finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We'll go over the last 2 before we go into the Daredevil.
Season 2.
Yep. Daredevil season 2.
Season 2.
All right, let's get into the news. All right, we got a lot of news. You know, the Marvel PR machine goes cray-cray around a big release, and they try to focus the attention on the big Marvel films, and I kind of think they were a little bit successful. However, they have a little bit of house cleaning that needs to be taken care of on the small screen. Now, while no decisions have been made, it's looking a little dicey for Agent Carter Season 3 and Marvel's Most Wanted for actually getting picked up, isn't it, Lauren?
Yeah, so this was from 2 days ago. Comics Alliance has an article about how, remember when we talked about Haley Atwell signed for new ABC pilot?
Yes.
And at first they were like, no, she could totally do both series. She could totally do both series. But now it's looking like Agent Carter is considered highly unlikely to continue, because right now they're, you know, talking about, these are the shows that are going to get renewed. And yeah, Agent Carter's probably not going to be one of them. And it makes me sad.
Yeah, let's face it. The ratings are low. Haley Atwell's got picked up for something else. And as we've discussed before, it would have been, I think it will be okay for her to come on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or maybe the Netflix series, to try to fill out those flashbacks of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually being formed without having to go through the rigors of a full season.
And things are maybe not looking so good for Marvel's Most Wanted either, because True Hollywood Reporter notes that Marvel's Most Wanted has been cooling, and some say it's not considered the lock it once was. But Variety claims that it has a very good chance of going to series. So, you know, some people are thinking is maybe it's going to be the 8-episode thing that's going to go between the two halves of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, we'll see.
Yep.
I hope it stays around, because I want more Mockingbird and Hunter, and just, I want something. Come on, guys.
Mm-hmm. Michelle, there's been a lot of talk about this on social media, on Facebook. We've both been involved. Just for the podcast listener, please give your take on this.
I would sacrifice Marvel's Most Wanted and for season 3 of Agent Carter. But I would really like to see either one of those go to Netflix. I don't, you know, I can see Agent Carter or Marvel's Most Wanted to Netflix, but if I had to pick, I'm picking Agent Carter.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Either way, I think Marvel was overreaching with all the series that it had in development and thought, oh, there'd be a great thing. I think the Batman versus Superman thing made them pause. I think the destruction, unfortunately, of Arrow this past year has made them pause. While the ratings haven't really been hurt in Arrow necessarily, they've been down a little bit, but Flash has kept them up. Supergirl has kept them up. I think that they're taking a look, and this is a crowded space, and let's just keep our best foot forward, and let's not make it a running gag that Marvel has all this stuff out there. Besides, they got great content on Netflix. I think they're getting more money out of it, and I think they're using Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to bring in that new viewer, that younger crowd, even though it's a little bit more of an adult show, into the Marvel universe. And the Netflix is like the really adult crowd and whatever. So we'll just see how this all pans out. But I'm actually a little selfishly sighing a big sigh of relief, because I don't know how we're going to cover all of these shows if they actually came out. We're having hard enough time as it is. I mean, Jessica Jones came out in November and we're not done with it, and it is May. All right. Moving on to the next story on the list. A little announcement talking about Marvel Netflix. Just a little announcement came out that had the fans roaring, right, Michelle?
Yeah, The Punisher is getting his own television show on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Please note my excitement.
I think a lot of people loved his portrayal as the Punisher in Daredevil season 2. I think a lot of people thought that there was a lot of merit in it, but like I said, it's May. we've had a complete Daredevil season 2, and we're still not done with Jessica Jones. So for the casual fan like us, it's a little bit hard to make it through all this stuff.
I'm actually pretty happy about this because I'm one of those people who absolutely loved John Bernthal's performance in season 2 of Daredevil. And I'm pretty sure that what Netflix is probably going to end up doing is maybe sticking to like 2 series per year. Because right now, they're doing, they're working on Luke Cage, and then they're going to be doing Iron Fist and then Defenders.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else comes after that. So I think if they stick to 2 per year, we'll still be able to cover it pretty well.
I hope they do. I hope they slow it up a little bit, but it's a little bit unfair to the actors because they want to do other projects as well. So having at least a series every 18 months will keep the people engaged. I mean, take a look at the last season of Battlestar Galactica. That was an issue that was compounded by the writer's strike, but they waited until the last second to pull the trigger on doing a last season. It was like the last day that their contracts were actually up. And then Sci-Fi did that again with Defiance for season 3. So I'm just glad that it worked out in those cases, but it was a last season. Now you got to keep these actors into it. And of course, all these actors want in on the Marvel Cinematic Universe too. So got to give them a little taste. Got to get them.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Karen Page is in the show because yeah, Punisher and Karen Page. I mean, not the ship I was expecting to come out of season 2 of Daredevil with, and yet.
True. All right, so we got the Punisher coming out. Michelle is, I like the character, but I'm worried about the space being too crowded. And Lauren, as long as Luke Cage is in it, she's fine.
Karen Page.
As long as Luke Cage is in it, you're fine.
I said Karen Page.
Come on, I'm trying to get you to do the thing. I mean, I've been doing the thing for you. You got to do the thing.
Luke Cage!
All right. Because you didn't do the Science Babies before. You got to do it. All right.
Well, we didn't really talk about the Science Babies before. I mean, just a little. We talked about someone's dying.
We talked about their relationship and how they had sex.
I was too upset to do it, okay?
All right, fair enough. And JPEG to Raw in the chat said he loved the movie The Punisher. So
did I. I actually really liked both of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so a big announcement has also been made this past week, and I think this is Marvel saying, okay, we're going to move forward because we think this is important, and there is these type of things in the comics already, right, Michelle?
What?
Okay.
Oh, I'll take this one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Russo brothers are saying that the chances of an LGBT character in the Marvel Universe are strong. In fact, Joe Russo said, I think chances are strong. I mean, it's incumbent upon us as storytellers who are making mass appeal movies to make mass appeal movies and to diversify as much as possible. In cold, hard facts, I saw somebody say that it's probably because they've made so much money that they can afford to take more of a risk. I'm doing, the finger quotes here. But yeah, this is, I mean, Marvel has had a lot of LGBT characters in the comics for years now. And lately, the entire X-Men storyline is just kind of a, LGBT metaphor ever since like the early 2000s. I guess since the 90s, ever since, Legacy Virus is very clearly an HIV metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it'll be kind of nice to actually get to see representation on the screen. So
right.
Good on them for acknowledging that, and hopefully they stick with it.
Mm-hmm. It'll be exciting as we go forward with that. Moving on, the Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 might not actually be Part 1 and Part 2. Yes, that is correct. We have confirmation that the Russo brothers are going to retitle the films, and that's as far as I got. And I actually didn't want to be spoiled for a little bit, so I didn't read the article. But yes, the Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 are just working titles, apparently, and they are working on something a little bit more grandeur. Moving on to the X-Men, there might be a new mutant lineup. So, Lauren, we have problems hearing you, so you probably have to go out and come back in and select the correct microphone. Lauren did an SP and she closed the wrong window, and that has happened to SP before. As a matter of fact, SP knocked Haley out of the podcast last week, so
Okay,
or 2 weeks ago. That is better. So,
okay,
moving on, X-Men apparently has a new lineup.
Yes, I just saw this just a few minutes ago while I was looking up another article. Josh Boone is talking about, the New Mutants project that he's been working on. He's been working on a whole bunch of other projects too. The Stand is on hold. A new film based on Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles on hold. But he's talking about, all these other characters. He posted a series of photos featuring Wolfsbane, Magic, Mirage, Cannonball, Sunspot, and Warlock. So these might be the characters we're getting for the New Mutants. I think. I forget if it's a TV show or a movie. I think it's a movie.
Would
this be with Fox?
Yes. And there's a report that suggested that Maisie Williams, Arya from Game of Thrones, is in talks to play Wolfsbane, and Anna Taylor-Joy from The Witch is in talks to play Magic. And honestly, Maisie Williams said in an interview that she'd love to appear in New Mutants, but isn't allowed to say anything. So, I mean, we'll see.
She did phenomenally in Doctor Who. She really did. I was suspect, and she really pulled. She's a very talented individual that pulled off a character that was literally thousands and millions of years older than she is. So that was really a joy to watch, and I can't wait to see what her take on a mutant might be. All right, that's it for the news this week. We're going to move on to some feedback. As always, we get a lot of feedback, and once again, Lauren live tweets the episodes every Tuesday night, and then if we do a Netflix episode as well, that's Monday night. She will not be doing that this next week. And
no, next week I will be. It's the finale that I won't be.
Yeah, that's right. No, next week you will not. We will not be doing a Jessica Jones episode next week.
Oh, okay. You're talking Jessica Jones. Okay. Because next week I will be tweeting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
But for
Tuesday
the finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I will not be tweeting because my friends are like, hey, let's go do a thing.
Don't worry, folks. We got it covered. We're going to be tweeting we got it covered. Okay. So, but in the meantime, we get a lot of great feedback, a lot of it on Twitter. And at Born to Eat Bacon said, hottest Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. scene since May Fought May. And that was Ginger Ninja passing herself a beer. So for that, Born to Eat Bacon, I give you golf clap. Yes.
That was pretty great.
That was a good one. Mm-hmm. And our pal, our friend of the cast at Mr. Pericletes said, Metal Arm Love, credit to Paco Puente. And have you seen this cartoon graphic, Lauren?
Yes, I have. Because, it comes out of the recent commercial for Civil War with Spider-Man fighting with Bucky, and he's like, you have a metal arm? That's awesome, dude. And in this comic, it continues with somebody off screen going, mm-mm. And then you see Colossus showing off 2 metal arms. And then you see Spider-Man with big heart eyes.
That was awesome. And then our co-host on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Longbox Edition, Black Adam, at Starsaber_222, asked me, did you get one of these yet? And it is an Agent 13 Pop Funko. I will admit, I have not made it out to the store yet to grab myself an Agent 13. I have not ordered one yet. It has been that busy around the SP household, been doing a lot of traveling, unfortunately, and have not had time to pick one up. So your picture, sir, makes me very jealous because that is awesome. I want one so bad. I actually might create a wall of Agent 13 Pop Funkos right behind me. Instead of the photo backdrop, it will be Agent 13 backdrop.
That's scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not creepy at all, right? Creepy SP is creepy. And then last on the Twitter sphere, the Gatecast on Twitter at the Gatecast. They do a Stargate podcast, and they said this week's podcast promo is for Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Go to legendsofshield.com for all things Marvel. And for that, I say thank you very much to our friends over at Gatecast. All right, Lauren, we received an email.
Yes, we did. It's an email from our friend of the show, Andy, giving us his rundown of Jessica Jones episode 11. Jessica naming all those weird ways to die without a pause. We forgot to talk about that, and that was great when they're at the morgue and she's saying, like, tell us if you see anything else weird, and proceeds to name all these weird ways to die. And the morgue attendants, they're like, oh my God. Jessica could feel one rib sticking into her liver. Yeah, that was uncomfortable sounding. Was unsure if Simmons had killed Trish as well. Was really wondering if those pills will play a role in another series or a later season.
So good.
This was by far the best action sequence of the series. I got to agree. That was great.
Well, when she throws him through the wall, I mean, that's the action was amazing. We didn't talk about that, but when you have superhumans fighting superhumans with superhuman strength and throwing them through walls and having to beat them into submission using your refrigerator, it's some awesome fighting.
And then, no, not the nice pub. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, 9 out of 10 tag team hand-to-hand fights. Thank you for that, Andy.
Yes, and we do have a couple more emails from Andy. Stay tuned for them. All right. Do you guys got any other feedback? Any in your back pocket? Anything you want to talk about? Any chat?
Nope.
Conversation. All right, here we go. Join us Sunday, that is 10 a.m. Eastern, as we discuss Captain America Civil War, possibly the biggest comic book movie ever. So we'll see if it lives up to the hype. Don't forget, we have a website, legendsofshield.com. We have a voicemail line, 844-THE-BUS-1. That is 844-843-2871. If you go out and you see Civil War and you're walking out of the theater, please give us a phone call and tell us how you liked it. And we have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, a Tumblr page. Search for Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. You'll find that. Don't forget, we put this video on the Gonna Geek YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Gonna Geek. And don't forget, on the network, we have forums. That's forums.gonnageek.com, or search for Gonna Geek on your Tapatalk app. So the next live event on this network, on Geeks.live, will be Starling Tribune breaking down tonight's episode of Arrow with special guest, she doesn't know it yet, Michelle will be joining us.
I will?
Yeah, you will.
Wow.
Yeah, just announced live on this podcast. Michelle will be joining Neil and I tomorrow night because Chris will be off at a Civil War premiere.
Oh.
So thank you very much to everybody that's listened to us on Spreaker. Thank you to everybody that's been on Blab. I really appreciate Mike stopping by. That's at JPEG to Raw. Cajun Sean, as always. Stephen John Drew dropped by earlier, and everybody else that dropped by and told us they were having a fun time in the chat. We really appreciate that.
Thank you for everybody who follows us on Twitter, Facebook, just anywhere. Thank you for, giving us news, for just giving us any little, weird thing that you think of during the week. Thank you for following along with live tweets. It's so fun. We appreciate it.
And thank you very much to everybody that has entered our giveaway. I'll throw it up one last time on the camera. That is the Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty Cantina crate, and that goes to the adorable, I hope some of it will go to the adorable son of at Mr. Paracletes. So just give me your address, sir. Just a little reminder, DM me it, and I will get it in the mail as soon as I can. And a very special thank you to Michelle. She has been filling in for us as we have been dropping like flies here on the Get a Geek Network left and right on podcasts. And it is awesome to have a go-to person to come in and discuss all this stuff and have knowledge of all this stuff and have the passion to be able to discuss it on a moment's notice. We really appreciate you coming on board, Michelle.
No problem. It's always fun.
All right. And with that, I am going to sign out. Until next time, I'm Agent Stargate Pioneer.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Michelle Ely.
Bye. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Sunday.
Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you'll find all of our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual host and do not represent Legends, Stream, or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation. No infringement is intended.